Hi, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily with me, Dr. Russell Sharp, and today we're talking about russet mites. Russet mites are a type of arachnid. Now, the main mite that causes a problem in hydroponics is the two-spotted spider mites or red spider mites. But increasingly a problem are russet mites, and these are much smaller and they're not coloured, and so they can be harder to diagnose. I think often they will get misidentified as either thrip larvae or potentially springtails, but they are an arachnid. And the one that affects most hydroponics crops is the hemp russet mite, and that affects hops and it affects legal cannabis. And they belong to a family called the Eriophyidae. So not the most difficult scientific name in the world. They are the gall and the rust mites. Now, normally they produce galls. Most of these species produce galls, but the hemp russet mite doesn't produce galls, but it's still in this family. Okay, its scientific name is Aculops cannabicola. Cannabicola. It's a good name, isn't it? And so it'll survive on many types of plants, but it particularly loves hemp and nettles and cannabis, which are all closely related. So, as I say, it's much smaller. It's torpedo-shaped and sort of yellow. This is a pest that you're going to need a hand lens for. They are extremely small and difficult to observe. The colour is almost translucent. So, as I said, they're elongated, torpedo-shaped, soft, segmented, and the body is divided into two parts, the head with the mouth parts and the rest of the body. And unlike most arachnids, which have 8 legs, obviously, spiders have 8 legs. Camel spiders, have you ever seen those? Look horrific. They've got 8 legs. They look like aliens. These have only got 2 pairs of legs. So they've got 4 legs, like a dog or a cat. So not an insect, it'd have 6 legs. So that's interesting. And you'd really would need a very good hand lens or a stereo dissecting microscope to count the number of legs, though, on a russet mite. Its life cycle is fairly simple. It has eggs, lays eggs on your leaves, and then goes through 2 nymphal stages. So it has an exoskeleton that it molts and then just turns into an adult. Okay, so larvae, the first stage, and nymph, the second stage. The eggs are microscopic, though. You're probably not going to see them because they are 0.05 millimeters in diameter and 0.2 millimeters long. So that is crazy small. Just like red spider mites, they cause damage by sucking the contents of the plant cell, opening it up for infection, and just severely degrading the life of the plant. It won't form a web, though, like red spider mites, so you won't get that sort of enclosing of the growth and the curling of the leaves that you get with red spider mites. But your plants will become very stunted if you get a severe infection. So if you have not been inspecting your plants for pest and disease regularly, the first sort of sign that you've got russet mites will be that your leaves will suddenly become dull, greyish, bronzed, upwardly curl, and just become far more stunted. And you'll see it it'll go through the crop if you've got lots of plants slowly. Russet mites are more of a problem in the United States, I think, than in Europe. Don't know. I've not heard of many people getting russet mites. It will be one of these ones that you get in on clones, snips, cuttings, and so always quarantine cuttings. Never ever put cuttings into a grow room or a mother room for any crop type without quarantining for at least a few weeks to really stimulate the production of the pests and any mildews to show signs of disease or first, because as soon as they go into your grow room, that's it. You've got them for life then, unless you've got some really good eradication policy. The good news is that all the methods of control that you would use for spider mites are probably going to work for russet mites. So especially the predatory mites that you can buy, and things like garlic extract and other things like Dr. Hydro spider mite control and things like that. So they're all going to work for russet mites. Russet mites, the predatory mites might struggle more, though. They will eat them, but on certain crops, if you've got lots of trichomes, then they can, because they're so small, they can hide under the trichomes away from the predators, which is annoying and potentially, means that the control might be more difficult than it would be for spider mites. So that's something to consider. I'd be interested to know if UV light helps control russet mites, because they're so transparent. I would imagine they haven't got much in the way of pigments to help them protect themselves against the UV light. So it'd be interesting to know what effect that has on russet mites. They can become absolute infestations. There are some horrible videos and pictures on the web of russet mite infestations that are pretty grim. Will, give you nightmares. Actually, I've just done some more research there, and it says that hemp russet mites don't affect hops and other closely related plants. So maybe I've been misinformed there. So that's according to Colorado State University via Google AI. So I might look into that a bit more. But certainly lots of plant pests and diseases do affect the two. But in this case, not so much. As I say, it's part of the gall producing family, the Eriophidae. And there are some amazing galls that produce. So gall is like, have you ever seen a leaf and it might be a green leaf with like red spots, red growths on it? That's a gall. And they can be caused by wasps, they can be caused by viruses, and they can be caused by mites. And the mites make the plant produce, so they're not caused by, the mite gets the plant to form the gall to feed the mites inside it. And so it gets the plant to produce certain hormones, or the gall might produce hormones, and they're plant parasites and they live inside these galls normally. So they might be bright red, bright orange, green. On oak trees, they almost look like little acorns. They're that big. And some galls can be massive, as I say, but the hemp russet mite is unusual in that it's a gall mite or a rust mite that doesn't actually form a gall. It doesn't need to, I suppose. It just feeds like a red spider mite. Not much is known about gall mites, really, considering how impressive their galls are. Only about 10% of the species are thought to have been named. I'm from Warrington originally, and the museum in Warrington, one of the very first public museums and libraries in England, and it had a massive display of galls and gall mites. Probably the only one in the country. A bizarre thing for a fairly small town to have a museum gallery dedicated to gall mites, but there it was. So that's how I know gall mites originally. Don't think there was any hemp russet mites though in that display. Probably too small for it to make a good display. So that's been Hydroponics Daily for today. Hemp russet mites, small torpedo-shaped mites that you might get they might travel in on the wind as well. I forgot to say they actually can travel on the wind. They're that small. So another reason to have a really good inlet filter. But you probably, if you're going to get them, it's going to be on a cutting, either in the compost, the grow media, or on the plant itself. So quarantine your plants. If you do have an infestation, treat them with either predatory mites that will eat them, or a good quality product designed for spider mite control. So red spider mite controls will kill off hemp russet mites. So something like Dr. Hydro spider mites protection spray, something with a garlic base and other additives and things like this. So if you would like to know more about russet mites, if you think I've got this wrong, if you have any other interesting facts about russet mites and how to control them, then please get in touch. That's been Hydroponics Daily for today. As I say, I've been working on the book of hydroponics book, and I think it's going to be really good. I've got some really good ideas how to make them super useful and really an easy reference for growers. So super excited to hopefully be bringing that out fairly soon. Not super soon, because I want to make a really good job of it. But if you're interested, we'll probably have a pre-sign up and an offer for anyone who's a customer for Gold Leaf in the US or Liquid Gold in the UK. If you're already a customer of ours, then we'll look after you and make sure you get a really good deal on that book. Okay, so thank you very much for listening today. Until tomorrow, goodbye.